Okay, this was a relatively long game. Um, I think it's just an entertaining game to watch. So I'm not gonna comment too much. Uh, Most of this is standard opening theory. Here I make this move. Um, Usually the best response here is pawn to d4, kicking out my knight. Um, but since my opponent moved back, I take the pawn. Um, my opponent tried to lock up the center, but I think that plan backfired. So here, my opponent could have went after the b2 pawn, but didn't. So I try to dominate the center. So this was just a left the pawn hanging. So we exchange off to sort of offset the rook. And we have a very powerful pawn chain in the center, which is what makes this game kind of interesting. So I went for the queen trade. My opponent rejected that idea. And here, there's just all kinds of direct and x-ray threats. And the pawn chain just keeps growing. Um, my opponent has some counterplay on the queen side, but we exchange off. And this was some good moves by my opponent to try to trap my queen or promote. And we sort of start locking up here. Now I have 3 pieces on the c2 pawn. My opponent tries this pin, so we just go for rook takes pawn with the idea that black can't take the knight because the queen hangs. So black's trying to get out of this lost situation by exchanging off, and then gets the check. So here, black could have exchanged queens and then won the knight, but chose to just keep supporting the bishop, which I thought was a bad move. So now we've got a couple pieces on the bishop, and we just take it. So we do some exchanging, and then there's a series of checks in which my opponent wins a bishop, but I still think he's lost. And he's also down on time just a bit. So my opponent steals a pawn, and white is only up 1 pawn, but with serious passed pawn potential. So again with the checks, but we move over. Again with the check, and we push the pawn. And this is where I think black's fate got sealed. Takes and checkmate. So an entertaining checkmate, I think.